So I just finished watching the last episode of Prophet called Forgiveness. So the episode opens with some dialogue, as usual, from my man Jim Prophet. Family. It's everything. I love when he talks to this. I love when he talks to the audience in the show. So, my man Jim Prophet knows people. He is well equipped with knowledge of the darker side of human nature. He knows all he must do is put a person in a situation to choose. And I guess his faith is in the fact that he will know what the person will choose at that moment of truth. For me, part of the appealment of this character is how calm and cool and collective he is in the series, with everything. At one point, he reveals his manipulation skills to the boss, even with him, how he's able to manipulate him, the boss himself. But he acts to protect the company, a.k.a. family. In this case, against a hostile takeover by Uncle Pervert. Stay tuned; it'll all make sense. But when he reveals this, the boss says, "You got to tell me, Jim, how you can be so mentally clear." And he says, "I grew up in a box." And the boss looks at him weird, like, well, "That's a weird thing to say." A meditation technique. You box out the world around you. Disregarding the fact that he actually grew up in an actual box, courtesy of his abusive father. So, step-monster mother insists that Jim get her a new car. At one point, she's with this kid who he's obviously paying in this new car, driving around, and it's obvious what's going to happen. And when I watched this the first time, I was like, yes, die! I wanted Stepmonster to die in this car crash. I like Jim Prophet, the character. I want him to find happiness in life. I just don't see that happening from a secret physical relationship with his stepmother. So at that part of the story, I wanted Step-Monster to die. But for the plot line of the show, I can understand why she lived. Especially after the heart-to-heart talk between her and Jim, when he basically tells her that you got to clean your act up and get off the stuff and help me control the fourth most powerful company in America. He tells her, this is America, where even a low-life addict like you can marry a rich man like his boss, the president of the company. In that sequence, though, at first she tries to get some pull. She still thinks she has pull on Jim Prophet with what she could tell the cops about the truth about the death of his father and all this stuff, and it's like, you listen to your mama when she's talking. And it reminded me when I was still a child and I got a collect call from my own father from jail, incarceration, and they let the person make a small recording message, and in that message, my father said, "It's your dad, Mike. You got to press 0. Press 0 now." That is burned in my memory. That message phone call from my father from in being incarcerated. He still thought he could still. He at that point he obviously thought he could still manipulate me. I remember it like it was yesterday. You gotta press zero. Press zero now! It's like I was ignorant to the fact that I'd be accepting the charges of my grandparents' phone. So this hostile company takeover by Uncle Pervert, I'm calling him, for the sake of this video, I'm just calling him Uncle Pervert, happened to molest the boss's brother, Pete, wife, Nora, when she was 12 years old. Unbeknownst to the Pete character, because he kind of, up until he finds out, he kind of idolizes the Uncle Pervert, which is making things difficult for the wife, Nora, who knows the truth about him. But when he does find out, he goes over to his brother, the boss's house, and punches Uncle Pervert in the face, and then quits his job at Grayson and Grayson. They're figuring that, well, I'm fired now anyways. But then the boss offers Jim Profit Pete's job. Jim declines, to the boss's confusement. I don't understand you, Jim. Because firing a Grayson, the boss's little brother, is not good for the company because of the publicity. And Jim is all about protecting the company, a.k.a. the family. But before all this, Nora calls her friend, Jim Profit, on the phone to announce, I'm leaving Pete. My uncle was here and he was going on and on and on about how he wishes he could be like him. And Jim says, Nora, calm down. You're not leaving your husband. You're just looking for someone to share your pain. And she thinks deeply about what Jim just said and says, thank you. I'm telling you, if Jim wanted this married woman, he would have her in a heartbeat. But my man Jim is not like that. But if Jim wanted, that married woman would be his. But Jim is more about the bigger picture. Her divorcing Pete, her husband, would not be good for the company, would not be good for the family. But I'm glad that Jim never does really go all the way with this married woman, just, toys with her a little bit in the beginning of the series. But a real man is not interested in another man's woman. So as much as Uncle Pervert likes his organic strawberries, if they're not prepared just right, he will have an allergic reaction to them. And he mentions about how he just can't live without his need for his organic strawberries. To which Jim tells Uncle Pervert, we all have our vices. So Jim, pretending with Uncle Pervert to go along with his hostile takeover of the company, insists that he, for the sake of his own good publicity, make arrangements to give an award to the nature girl who sold the most cookies, including a ride on his yacht. She's only 12. Uncle Pervert's eyes light up. At that part, there's real good staging, clever staging that with the Grace character who intervenes in a way to get the girl out of the office before Jim stages the death of this child predator. So he makes it so Uncle Pervert, now partaking in what he thinks are safe strawberries, were tainted by Jim himself. But remember, it's just an allergic reaction. If you act fast, the man will live. Jim hands the phone to Nora and says, you make the call. The married woman, which he molested when she was 12. She begins to dial 911. She doesn't get past the first one. She dials 911 and then watches as Uncle Pervert windpipe closes permanently. So who is the real perpetrator of this child predator's death here? Is it Jim who set the whole thing up? Or is it Nora who let the man die in front of her? This is why I think network TV audience hated the Jim Prophet character. In real life, most people have no agency or accountability. This is why our country and world is so messed up. Everybody's looking for somebody else or government to take care of things. So in the aftermath of Uncle Pervert croaking, Nora turns to Jim and says, "Do you think I'm evil for letting a man die?" And Jim just calmly says, "None of us are saints." To Jim, the Jim Prophet character, G&G, Grayson is the family company. Like it said in that cardboard box, he grew it with the hole cut out so he could see the TV that his dad forced him to grow up in. G&G is family to Jim. He takes care of the company and the company folks. There is a happy ending in between the married couple, which is good. It's always good when the married couple work it out. We all, even Jim has his cross to bear. He takes care of his junky stepmother. That's what us guys are wired to do. Even though now she's going to be married to the boss, so now she's a part of G&G family. For the record, Jim actually only killed 2 people in the series. This child predator, or responsible for setting it up that way, and his father. So I say, let God be his judge. Even when he killed his father, his face is blank, and it's like he doesn't enjoy it. He just sees that it's something that needs to be done. Jim Prophet would rather be your friend than your enemy. I think in the series, Jim Prophet learns, because of his own child abuse past, that everybody associated with Grayson was a flawed human being, just like him. Flawed, but family. Grayson, the family company, like it said on the box. He ultimately concludes that maybe he doesn't have to be the head of the company to look after its best interests. He doesn't have to be the boss to rule and control all he surveys. He's psychotic, but he's loyal to the company, aka family. In the end, Jim concludes that there's only 3 things that truly matter in this life: your faith, your fortitude, and your family. I had an idea, but I went ahead and looked up fortitude. Fortitude is the strength of mind that allows one to endure pain or adversity with courage. Don't flunk with my man Jim, in other words. He will make mincemeat out of you. It's kind of hinted at the end of this last episode. The writers of the show kind of suspected this was going to be it. So they kind of wrote it in a way where it could have gone on, but it also has an ending. But it's revealed that Jim Prophet was the name of an orphan who lives in Ireland. In that our Jim Prophet took this guy's name and identity. I think that's where the show would have gone had it continued and not been canceled. But if the show had continued, I personally would have liked to have seen more of an intimate relationship develop between the Gale and Jim character. Well, the way it ended here is downright depressing. I mean, that's the only happiness my man Jim my hero, is ever going to know in life, is this secret physical relationship with his stepmom, an ex or addict. That's depressing. I want more for my hero. Hey, in my mind, maybe even Jim and Gail could have lived, in one of those happily ever after type deals I hear so much about. I've heard of on occasion. But this show definitely would have been more successful on HBO or Showtime. You just don't see shows like this anymore. In the documentary included in this complete series set that I got, the writers of the show, they were always pondering the question, if a corporation was a human being, it'd be a psychopath. And after I watched that, I realized I was right in my assumption about Jim Prophet being from this real guy from Ireland. They I guess they were going to make it like the company legal advisor, the woman, was going to blow up in a phone booth in Ireland. And then Jim was going to get a call from the IRS saying, "It's done, Mr. Prophet. Now you only owe us, the IRS." But I think I already stated in another video I made about this show, the actor Adrian Pasdar, he's like Scott Bakula's evil twin. Anyways, some of that stuff I just threw in, but I'm far from done with this show. Now I think I want to watch it again from the start, just for the sheer joy of it. Mike Bearlack, thank you.